everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books, and welcome to another Hit or Misses book read. Hey you guys, so I was trying to decide what I wanted to call this, and I was like, well, it's kind of a wrap up of the things that I've read most recently, and I just think that this is going to be an episode of like, some were hits and some were misses. So let's just get into it. Okay, so the first series that I want to talk about is Jamie McGuire's The Providence series. There are 3 books in the series. It's Providence, Requiem, Eden, and there are 2 other books in the series, which I didn't even bother to pick up because I was like, what the hell is the point of this? So let me talk about book 1. Providence. And I really thought that I was going to like this because I read a couple of other Jamie McGuire series and I really like them. And this one, it read so childish. It read very immature. The main character, Nina, got on my nerves. Like, I didn't understand her. She's supposed to be a university student at Brown, but she acts like she's a high school student, and like, it just is ridiculous. So Anna's father died suddenly, and she's left to live with her mother, but she calls her mother by her actual name. She doesn't call her mom, so I don't even understand why she calls her by her name, which is strange to me. And she meets this guy named Jared, and she meets him on the street at a bus stop after she leaves the funeral of her father because her father has passed away. And she meets him, they have an exchange and a conversation, and it's kind of interesting, and she can't stop thinking about him, and then all of a sudden he starts popping up all over town. No matter where she is, he kind of is there, and she doesn't think that this is odd or strange. And like, there's things about him that are a little bit like, he's trained in military optics, he speaks Russian, he says he learned it from his father, he's got this mysterious background, he's got a sister named Claire, and again, she has this unnatural strength and speed. But, you know, the only thing that Nina can think about is that you didn't do what you said you were going to do, and you weren't there for me, and it's just absolutely ridiculous, and I don't understand the plot of the story. Nina learns what Jared is and how he relates to her, and this is one of those like angels and demons kind of stories that harkens back to, it reminds me of another story that was like The Fallen by Kate somebody or whatever, and that was like another one like during that time when like we were writing about like, you know, love stories with angels or whatever. This was very insta-lovey, it was very childish, there's supposed to be a love triangle involved, you know. Her father has a connection with Jared's father. Jared, we learn, is like a half angel, and it just was all over the place. Mob, Russian mob. She was trying to pull too many things into this, and it just didn't make any sense to me, and I was just like, what's the point? And then I went on and read the reviews for the last 2 books, and people were like, I feel like these books negated the whole first 3 part of the series, so why did you do that? So I was like, what am I even doing when I could care less about this story, and I hate this story? And I can't even tell you any more than that. Like, I couldn't even say like this specifically is the plot because I don't know what the plot is. So overall, like, I think generously I gave it a 3. I think it's more of a 2, honestly. Angst wise, it was a 4, but it was like ridiculous angst because she's so impetuous and so like, you're supposed to love me and you're supposed to be there for me and you're gonna fight for me and I don't want you to fight for me and fight for me, and oh, it's just ridiculous. There's absolutely no spice in this because I think this is like a YA. At your own risk, at your own peril, if you want to go into it, try it. But I think it was absolutely worthless. But there, you know, when you go on Goodreads, there are several people that actually really love this series, and it's like a beloved series, and they were giving this a 5. I was like, what did I miss? I think I was out that day that they passed out the happy pills, because this did not make me happy. I was so bored. So this is a total fail for me. The next series that I read is by Torre, which I believe is a pen name for Alessandra Torre, I believe. And this is The Girl in 6E. Book 1 in this series is The Girl in 6E. And I absolutely loved this story. This I'm going to put under a suspense or a thriller. There is a romance element, but I am not going to call it a romantic suspense because, let's just say that. So this is about Deanna Madden, and Deanna Madden is a webcam girl. And she doesn't have any human interaction, but she doesn't want to have any interaction because she has a condition called anthropophobia, where she has fear of human interaction. Okay, and she also has another condition called dacomania, and dacomania is obsession with murder. So what we learn about her is that she has PTSD because she witnessed her mother murdering her family when she was a very young girl, and at that point, that's when it began. She sort of took on the traits of her mother, which is this obsession with murdering people. And so in order to keep herself safe, she locks herself away in this apartment, 6E, and she makes a living and survives off of being a webcam girl. And she is quite successful. And as a result, she develops a few connections with people online, and she's very consistent with her clients, and her clients love her, and she is highly sought after. And the other thing that she does is she sits by her door and she takes notes on her neighbors. So she knows everything that's going on with her neighbors. And so how she combats this idea of wanting to murder somebody is that she has the guy, Simon, that lives across the way. He locks her in every night. He locks her in about 9:30 and unlocks the door at 6 a.m. And they do this as an exchange. She gets him his pain medication that is prescribed to her, and she gives it to him every month, and in repayment, he makes sure that she locks her in so that she doesn't go out, because the murderous rages increase at night and she wants to go out and kill people. And so this is an amazing, amazing story. There also is a thriller component because, you know, the chapters are told from different point of views. And so clearly there's another chapter written by a pedophile that has desires to want to go out and harm children. And then chapters are written from Deanna's point of view, and Deanna is working and interacting with clients, and how the paths cross with this pedophile is that he jumps on a web chat with her and starts to express desires to want to harm a child, or desires to want her to interact in a certain way, and it leads her down a path or a mystery to find out what's going on. And then you also have a chapter written by a guy named Jeremy, who is the delivery guy, and that's the only real interaction that she has, the real life interaction. He's the UPS delivery guy that delivers all of her packages that help sustain her. This story was so good. It's so interesting. It's fast paced. You want to like keep turning the page. You want to solve the mystery. You want to see what's happening. You want to know how it's going to end. You want to know, you just want to know more. It is so, so good. I highly recommend The Girl in 6E. So this is a thriller, and like I said, it could be classified as a romantic suspense. I gave it an overall 4. Angst-wise, I gave it a 4, and spice-wise, I gave it a 1. There are a lot of sexy times in that she is interacting with her clients, but there's not a romantic connection. So there is, like, you know, she's engaged in sexual acts, but it is done remotely over the web, and so that kind of takes the romantic feel out of it. So that's what sort of takes away the spice, if you will, from it, but a very interesting read nonetheless. So then book 2 in the series is Do Not Disturb. I like this because this book has some disability representation, so that's very interesting. That comes in a thriller. I feel like this is even better than book 1. I really love. So this is Deanna's story is continuing. We are seeing new predators and new sort of mysteries that need to be solved. We have a host of characters. We have, you know, Jeremy, and Mike is a guy that she interacts with online. We have Deanna, we have Simon and his sister as well, and then we have Deanna's psychiatrist, Derek, and it's a who did it, who did what under what circumstances, and you're trying to figure it out and trying to solve the mystery, and it is really, really good. And these are beloved characters. I absolutely love this. This was, because like I said, this book was better than the first, and I just wanted to continue on with these characters, and Deanna grows on you. So overall, I gave this a 5. Angst-wise, I gave it a 4, and spice-wise, I gave it a 3. And then the final installation in this story is If You Dare. And so If You Dare, again, has a host of characters. We're trying to understand who did what, under what circumstance. That there are a lot of new characters that are popping up. You want to understand the whole story. This ends in a way that makes you, that's like a gut punch. and you just need to understand, you think you know, but do you really know what happened? And again, it's fabulous and so, so good. I really love it, and I'm sad that she's not going to be writing in this world anymore, that this really is the culmination of this series. I would love to have seen more. The author did say that she will at some point in the future revisit Deanna and revisit what she's doing and where she is, but you know, that's been 5-7 years ago, so I don't know if she is going to or not. We'll see what comes up in the future. So I gave this a overall 5. I gave this a angst-wise a 4, and spice-wise I gave it a 1 because there wasn't a lot of sexy time in here, but it was still good nonetheless. So then switching gears, this is The Protector by Jodi, Elle Malpas, and I really wanted to read more by Jodi, Elle Malpas because she wrote this Man series, which I really loved, and I am starting to see that Jem is a hit or miss author for me. I read this and I was just like, it didn't give me, I just was kind of bored. Like, I just was so bored. So basically the story is that Camille Logan is the daughter of business mogul Trevor Logan, okay? Camille is a party girl. She had a boyfriend named Sebastian, and as a result of like hanging out with Sebastian, they were doing drugs, hanging out, because Camille and Sebastian both are models. They both are like Instagram influencers. You know, they have high profile situations, but things got so out of control with Sebastian that Sebastian, her ex-boyfriend, had to leave and go to rehab because they just were living the crazy life. So he goes off and goes to rehab, and now she is left on her own. There's a death threat made against her life, and so her father, Trevor, hires an ex-military sniper and a trained soldier to protect her against this death threat. Okay, so he has this, and his name is Jack Sharp. Jack has PTSD. He's in his own form of hell. Something has happened that he hasn't protected the people that he's loved in the past, and as a result, he pushes everybody away and doesn't want anybody to get close to him. And so this is a forced proximity bodyguard romance, but it's also an age gap. And so in this story, there is a mystery to be solved. We're trying to figure out who is trying to kill her and why. And really, he's there to protect her, but we're asking the question, who's saving who in this circumstance? And I think also it's important to note that he has a secret that he is keeping, and that secret is what has forced him to remain isolated and away from people. So overall, I'm going to say that I gave it a 3.75. Angst-wise, I gave it a 3, and spice-wise, I gave it a 2. I was just like, whatever. And then Gentleman Sinner, and this was even worse than The Protector. I was just like, why do I care about these characters? I couldn't give a shit. This is about Izzy White. Izzy White has a past trauma from her previous history. She works as a nurse in a hospital. She is walking home from work one night, and she sees a woman getting accosted and attacked, and so she jumps in to save her or help her. Or she sees her, she was just attacked and she's lying on the street. So she jumps in and tries to like help her to see what happens, and when she does that, the attacker is there unbeknownst to Izzy, and the attacker starts to attack her and attempts to assault her. And so out of the blue comes this guy named Theo Kane, and he saves her from being assaulted. But he clearly is like, is he a good guy? And so he's supposed to be this tatted guy that is the owner of a strip club as well as an underground fight ring. We start to learn more about him, you know, and then when we learn more about him, we learn that he does not want to be touched or ever like to be touched, and you have to understand and figure out why. So clearly he is a broken hero. She in this story is the one with the secret that she's keeping from him. They develop a relationship. There's supposed to be some BDSM elements to this story. I just didn't care. I was so bored. I was like, what is the freaking point of this? There is no damn point. So let me say, this is bad. You know what the best part of this damn book was? The epilogue. I read the whole thing and I was like, don't give a shit. Don't give a shit. What's the point? This is slow. This is boring. This is stupid. And then I got to the epilogue, and the epilogue was from his point of view. And I was like, the epilogue was I was now in tuned, checked in. I loved the epilogue. Was really, really good. I could have read the epilogue as a little like whatever, like quick novella, and it'd be good enough, because the rest of this story was full of shit, and it was a piece of shit. It was terrible. So in being generous because of the epilogue, so I was going to give it a 2, so I gave it a 2.75 because of the epilogue. The angst was 0. There wasn't any angst. It was stupid, ridiculous. And the spice was a 2. overall. So you guys, oh my gosh, I'm trying to like not be brutal, but I try not to be, I try to be forgiving of authors because I do realize that this is their art and their work. And so I want to be fair to that. But in this instance, that book was not good at all. And I'm usually pretty easygoing. I am reading another book by Jodi, Elle, and Malpas right now, and it's The Forgiven, and I'm only on the 3rd chapter, and so far I'm interested and excited about it. So I'm hoping that that's gonna be a little bit more, because I have a couple of Gems books on my shelf, and so they better deliver, because I'm gonna be Xing them if not, because I need to make room for the stuff I want to read. So you guys, that is all that I had for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and please do me a favor and hit that like button, because it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Comment, right? I love to hear your comments, and I love to hear your recommendations and things that you want to see me read and do. And subscribe, you guys. Please subscribe, because that really helps me to get closer and closer to that 1,000. That's what I'm aiming for, and you guys are the ticket and the key to help me do that. And I so appreciate all of you for all that you do for me. And that's all that I have for today. So I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Thanks. Bye.